ladies and gents, this is Linda Chic777, and today I'm coming at you with a little project I have made for a rack. I decided to make something for a wonderful lady here on YouTube, and once I tell you the story, she may know who she is, but I'm not going to say her name just in case she doesn't recognize herself. What happened was, I think it's been a couple of months ago now, she had made this cute little project, and I had made a comment, of course, and, you know, I made a little joke about, you know, my hands up, I'm next, I want one, I'm next, you know, type thing, and next thing I know, I get a message that she has made me one, and she'd like to send it to me, and I was so floored by her just kindness and giving and generosity, and of course, when I got the package, beautiful, beautiful, and I saved her address, only now I gotta know where I put it. I put it in a nice safe place, and I don't know where that safe place is. But anyway, I hope I find it, because I don't want to message her that I need her address, because I want it to be a surprise. But anyway, so like I said, it was a couple of months ago, and so I'm hoping she kind of maybe forgot about it by now. And so this will just be a nice little pleasant blessing to her day. Now, this person I know from watching her videos, she has mentioned several times, you know, she loves laces, of course, shabby chic style. She likes creams and pinks. I know that she is a wonderful Christian lady, so I've kind of put like a little Bible verse in the project as well. So what I did is just made a card and a project, and I'll show those to you. Now, a little background on the project. I found this, it was a tall shelf, and the shelf was, let me measure real quick. It's about 11 inches tall, a little over, and maybe about almost 6 inches wide, and it stands, of course, on its end. And has two shelves in it, and it has a little metal door. It was a black metal door. It's kind of had a little heart design in it, see-through metal door. And when I saw it, I thought, ooh, I could like turn that on its back and make that like a tabletop decoration versus a shelf. And so that's what I did. And also on the bottom of the shelf, it had these four little triangular wood pieces that acted like little kind of decorative feet on the bottom. And I was going to take all those off, but I decided just to take two of them off and then kind of place them and glue them onto the other side so it would still have like a decorative element. And I'll show you what I'm talking about when I get to that. But first off, I'm going to show you the card. So I'm going to kind of move my sign back out of the way. No laughing at my card. I like making cards, but I don't know that I'm that great at it. So I tried to make it shabby chic. So here's my card. And I'll kind of bring it up so you can see it a little bit. And as I always do on all my projects, I sewed everything, distressed everything, added some texture. Now, if y'all are getting tired of looking at the texture, somebody tell me, say, Linda, it's time. You've done texture for a while. It's time to do something else. I'll try to find something else to make my projects cute. So let's start kind of from this top left. What I did... Actually, let's start as the base hole. I took 4 pieces of paper, and these are all from the, it's from the Glitz, the Pretty in Pink line. That's what I used for this card. And I was going to say I used it on the other paper, but I didn't. I can't remember what, or on the project. Oh boy, now I'm going to have to remember what I used. Anyway, back to the card. So, Pretty in Pink Glitz paper line. What I did is kind of added like a little paper doily. You're barely going to be able to see it. There's kind of poking out little paper doily. I just sprayed it with just a little bit light tan colors and inked it a little bit with Lindy Stamp Gang and inked it with some color box chalk ink. And then for the bow, back up into this left corner, what I did, as you can see, this bow is a sheer bow. And then you can see the stitching through it. So here's what I did. I took this sheer ribbon and I ran it through my sewing machine. Now be aware, if you go to run this ribbon through a sewing machine, as you're sewing, you have to hold this ribbon taut all the way through your sewing, or it'll just bunch right up on you because it's so thin. You know, it's very thin, very sheer, hence the sheer ribbon. I know, what a pun, right? So anyway, that's what I did, is I sewed the ribbon in a dark brown thread, and then I tied it in a bow. And then at the ends of the ribbon, I took the threads that were hanging out and I pulled on them to gather it up in a little crinkle. So that's what that looks like. So there's kind of a fun idea for a project or to do with your bows to make them look a little bit shabby. And then up here in the corner, my light is so bright, sorry guys, I just did a little collection of, I have just some little pearl strands here, and I have some I Am Roses flowers, bunch of different I Am Roses, cherry blossoms, and little bitty roses. I made a cute little stick pin here. There's a little stick pin. And then on right up underneath the bow, I put some little gems here, and I added like a little butterfly and a couple little double hearts. And then I made a little banner because I don't have any dies. So I made my own little banner, and it says "Hello, dear friend" on it. Let me see if I can adjust the light so it's not so, I don't know, see if that's a little bit better. And then I just inked it, and I sewed it all and distressed it, of course, added texture to it, and I added just some pearl trim that I want to scrap pearl trim in that corner and up in this corner. And I took little thin up underneath the bow before I glued it down, little thin crochet trim, and just kind of bunched it up all along this top edge and then along this left-hand side. So that's the front of my card. And then on the inside, all I did was just kind of top and bottom. I sewed some like cream color cardstock and added texture, added some more pearl trim, and then on the bottom I did another little doily over here to kind of tie in the front, another little pearl trim. So of course that's where I'll write my note. I wasn't actually going to put anything up here, but then as I was texturing, a bunch of texture got onto the inside of the top up here, and I didn't, I couldn't get it off, and it looked stupid. It looked like it was messed up and not intentional, so then I just went ahead and covered the top. So that's how the top got covered. But anyway, so there's my little kind of shabby chic card. Hope you guys like that. I kind of had fun with it. And the paper here is I did 4 separate designs underneath, and I did little squares. And then I sewed the little squares and then distressed all the edges, and then I, glued them on with a little bit of space. There you can kind of see a little bit of space between each of the squares. And then there's the 5th color here, which is plain pink, that I did my sentiment on. I just ran it through the printer and then, cut it out for the banner. So there's my little card this way for you. It's not too terrible, huh? Not too bad. Okay, so let me put that there, and then I'm going to up to the side, and then I'm going to bring up my project. So this is my little project. I'm going to bring it up. Kind of tilt this down a little bit so you can kind of see it as a whole. Now, like I said, just to show you, when I first got the cabinet, it stood up on end like this. Okay, and this little metal door was black. And so what I did is I just covered it all in papers, and the paper line is just about coming to me. It is, let me find it. Ah, there it is. It's the French Country Stack. I remembered the French Country Stack. That's what I used in here because I wanted to do pinks and creams like this lovely lady likes. And so the first thing I did is I painted everything and I crackled it all. Crackled all the edges. And then I covered all the sides. All the sides are separate. Covered them all with paper, distressed all the edges, sewed all the edges, did texture on them. So I'll just kind of go around the side of the box. These are those little triangular pieces I was talking about. This bottom piece, it had it on all 4 edges, so I just took the bottom 2 pieces off and then attached it over the other side just to kind of leave a decorative element. So then around to the back. And as you can see, I just gathered up some really pretty lace and then did flat back pearls along the side, and that's what I did on this side as well, of course. Bringing it around, and then over to here. See, here's the other little corners. And then in the front, I got this love word at Michael's. So what I did is I just painted and crackled, as you can see. And then on, like the L, I added 3 I Am Roses roses, and then just a little sheer bow, and then added some little pink and white flowers. And I textured everything, shimmer misted everything. You can see the texture on the flowers. Coming across, and on the V I did the same thing, added a white flower, some little pink flowers. I rub and buffed on the flowers. I didn't use the texture on the flowers, used rub and buff. Now, in this project, there is a scripture, and the scripture is from Ecclesiastes. It's a popular one. There's a time for every activity under heaven. And so what I did in the middle of the O and the E, and I'll bring it up so you can see, is I did a little transparency on the back. And in it, there says like there's a time to laugh and a time to dance, a time to cry, a time to mourn, just a big thing. So on the O, I put a time to dance because that's part of the scripture. And then in the E, I put a time to laugh because that's part of the scripture as well. Okay. And then I'm going to set this down, and we're going to kind of go in. As you can see a hole, let me kind of move my camera a little bit. I made 3 little separate compartments. Now, since the scripture on this project talks about a time, I decided to put a working clock in the project. So as you can see over here, I added a working clock to that particular compartment. On the bottom, you'll be able to see, there's the clock. Okay. Oh, and let me tell you, while I'm back here, I added little feeties. These are little cabinet handles, and all I did was texture them. Okay, and then I just added a pearl lacy trim around just to the outside just to kind of decorate. So 4 of those for the little feet. Okay, so let's start, and this is the metal door, changing my train of thought for a minute, that was all black, and what I did is I just painted it white with some acrylic paint, and then I took some gold rub and buff, and I just kind of did certain little areas just kind of with my fingers, smeared a little bit of gold on it, and then I took white rub and buff and then added splotches of white to it. So you can kind of see, like right here, you can see the texture of the rub and buff, a little bit of the gold right here. And this was a door. Like I said, I left it a door so that it can stand up like this. Okay, if she wanted, she could just leave it sitting like this. She could leave the project open like this. But I decided to leave the door on it because I loved the hearts. I loved the shape of the hearts on the door. So I left the door on there. So let's go over to this left compartment right here. Let me move my lights and get a little bit better. There we go. So there's my working clock. In the background is just a journal note card. And I believe that is from... My gosh, I should have looked again to see what from all my lines are from. It's just the journal note card. I think it is from the Color Box. Yes, the Color Box, the paper, no, not Antiquities. You guys know which one I'm talking about. The Color Box line. Now I gotta look because it's driving me nuts. It is the antique, I think it's the antique papery or one of those 2 lines that just came out that we all love. So anyway, that's what I did there, and I sewed it and distressed it and everything, and I just kind of right here just kind of curled up the edges on it. Now the clock, the hands were a blue color, and all I did on that, and it's going to be hard to see in the camera, but I took a black rub and buff on it, so they have like a real soft texture to it, almost like a velvety, and then I painted over the black with the black acrylic paint, and then I shimmer mist it with Lindy Stamp Gang, the black Midnight Raven one. So it kind of has a little shimmer and it looks all real cottony soft. Now on the journal card, I stamped that clock on there, of course. Okay, and then in this little compartment, now I'm going to need more light. I scrunched up some crochet lace that I had, and then you can see on the side I've got some circular pearl sprays in pink. And then I've got a cute little cream butterfly. And this right back in here is one of those great big keys. You can kind of see it over in the back is here as well. One of those great big keys, dollar keys from Michael's, or I guess they're $1.50 now, aren't they? And then on front of that, I've got like a little bauble here. And then I've got some flowers. These are Mon Ami flowers, and then some little pink flowers from I Am Roses. And then right here, I've got like a little spring. It's dark in there, doesn't it? A little spring, and then I've got another little I Am Roses flower in the back. I didn't want to put too much in here, obviously, because I needed the clock not to have too much in its way to be able to work inside there. Okay, and then over to this middle section here, this is the Bible scripture on there, and I've put it you can hear it. I put it on transparency, and it's not laying flat. It's kind of in this corner and kind of bowed over to this corner over here. And then the scripture says, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. So that's where all the time comes into it, and why I wanted to put a clock in there and stuff like that. So in the top corner, right in here, this is a mold I made of all those Prima Shabby Chic cute molds. This is one of the little corner pieces, so I made a mold of that and did my own, so I have some extras, of course. And then in this corner, this is a pearl bead trim I have, and I got it, a friend gave it to me, and she got it at a garage sale, and it's actually wired. It's really nice. I went to pull it out, and I didn't think it was, but it's wired all the way through it, so I can twist and shape it how I want. So that was actually very pleasant to work with, because I could put it wherever I wanted in there, as I just said. Why do I do that? I don't understand. I repeat myself like 10 times. Yeah, well, whatever. And then here's a little white flower in here. And then this right here is a homemade butterfly I've made. It's made out of lace, and it's on, I think I showed it in one of my videos. I've made a few of them. And a flower trim from Saw Crafters, and it's got some little gems on it, some stamen, little pearls and flowers in the center. So that's one of my homemade butterflies. And then down in this corner, I've got like a wheat spray. I've had wheat sprays. I've got just a few, and this is the very first time I used one, because every time I go to use it, it just never seems to look right to me, but I finally used one. So there's a little wheat spray here, and then another of this pearl gem spray that I like to use a lot. And then on the bottom, as you can see, I have just got a spray of bunches of Saw Crafters flowers. These are half pink, half white, kind of variegated flowers. I Am Roses flowers, teeny flowers, pearls, and this is one of the little tatted doilies that I have a stock supply of from my friend. So there's the middle section. And then over to this end section. Now what I've done in here is I just cut up a vintage piece of doily and kind of glued it onto the side wall here and into the back. And then I just did a spray of flowers here, Saw Crafters flowers and I Am Roses flowers right in through here. And then in the back, I've got some pearl spray back here and some more I just love. This is like my favorite gem trim. I use it on everything. I love this. And I get that at Joann's or Michael's, actually, I think, in the wedding section. And then I've got a little butterfly there. And then those are sitting on top of a little vintage spool. And then on the vintage spool, I've got some crochet trim that I've wrapped around it, and then I safety pinned it on. I'm really liking the look of, let me kind of get in here, of safety pinning, like, crocheted trim onto spools, because I just think it looks so cute. And then on that is hanging a little heart charm made with love that I got from a Zibbet store. And then in the corner of that, right in there, is like a bauble, and there's some flowers and some roses in here. Now here is a leaf trim, and what I did is this flower right up here, before I glued it in, I glued the leaf trim under it, so it looked like that was, you know, the leaf part growing up, and then there's the flower at the top of the leaf. Okay, so you can kind of see that in through there. Bunched up a lot of lace and stuff in here. You can see like a little spring right down in here. And then I've got some more I Am Roses flowers and Saw Crafters flowers all nestled in there. And then I've got this little jar. And inside I put some of the pink pearl spray. You can see which, like this that I used over here. I put that inside of the jar, and then I have a little memories metal. It's actually a ribbon slider in there. And then at the top of that, I just used some lace that I got from Maria in RAK. She just sent me. Hi, Maria. Thanks, sweetie. And I tied it in a little bow and just kind of crinkled it down and around through here, and then made it kind of, you know, glued it up into here, so it looked really cute. Little bottle laying there. Now here's what's driving me nuts, everybody. Can't handle it, can't fix it, so it's going to have to be. See, this little metal tag says memories, and do you see how you cannot see the S? When I went to glue the bottle in, I didn't realize that the pearls had shifted, and now they cover my S. And I don't know, I think I have a little bit of compulsiveness in me. Everything has to be perfectly wonderful, but I have shook this box forward and backwards trying to move those pearls so that my S shows, and it won't move, and it's driving me nuts. And you know that little quote, in case of emergency, break glass? I really want to break the glass because I just want to move that pearl out of the way. But of course I would break the glass and it's all ugly. So that's just a little thing to tell you. Can't stand it. It's driving me crazy, but that's okay. Maybe she'll notice everything else is all pretty and she won't even notice the S is covered, right? I had to just tell you guys that. Silly me, silly me. Anyway, so anyway, there it is. There's kind of my little top shelf that I turned into a tabletop decoration. And I'll kind of come in here a little bit closer so you guys can see it and get a look at it. And then if you want to close the lid and the little heart show, there it is. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. I just kind of wanted to show you what I've come up with. I'll be back, I don't know how soon, because I've got a couple more projects on the way that I'm going to be working on, of course, as we all do. So I'll see you again when I can. And, oh, actually, I hope I will be getting Miss Miranda's package in the mail so I can open that on camera with you. I cannot wait. Hi, Miranda, sweetie. Okay, I'll talk with you guys again soon, and thanks for sharing your time with me. Bye.